It kind of makes me feel like I'm applying like chicken grease to my lips or something. What I like about this is that it's so... Hey! Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you all the products that I loved in the month of April. I have so many amazing products here, so I'm really excited to share them with you guys. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you enjoyed this video, please also consider subscribing to my channel. It really means so much to me, and it's absolutely free for you to do so, and it just helps you find my videos a little bit easier. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the products that I have been loving in the month of April. I have two foundations that I've been loving the past month. One of them is a drugstore foundation, the Catrice HD Liquid Coverage Foundation. I love this foundation because it's one of the few full coverage foundations that looks really good on my dry skin. I do have more normal to dry skin. It's a little bit more dehydrated at times because I'm a coffee drinker and I don't drink as much water as I should. I know. But due to those reasons, a lot of full coverage matte foundations never look good on my skin. This one is one of the few that actually looks beautiful on my skin. This is my go-to when I want something more glam that is gonna last really well. This lasts all day long. It stays in place. It does not budge, but it's not drying or uncomfortable on the skin. It's a really thin formula, so it sits really closely to the skin and it doesn't feel heavy for that reason. It's super thin but has a lot of pigment, and again, it just stays in place super well. You don't have to worry about it. So for the upcoming warmer summer months where I'm going to be sweating a little bit more, this is one that I'm going to be reaching for a lot because it's just super reliable and I know that I can trust it. And I also love the price point. This is around $10. You can get it off of Catrice's website or off of Amazon. I've mentioned this a couple times on my channel, but I don't think I've officially put it in a favorites video yet, is the Nars Sheer Glow. Oh gosh, no. It is the Nars Light Reflecting Foundation. I love this one because it always looks good. It's super reliable, super consistent. It's not finicky. It gives you good medium coverage, so it covers what you need it to cover, but it never looks heavy on the skin. And this foundation creases minimally, like it hardly creases at all. Sometimes I will get creasing in my smile lines or on my forehead with foundations. This one, it doesn't crease at all, or if it does, it's very minimal. So if that's something that you look for in foundations, this is a great one to try because I found that it doesn't crease excessively. I love the natural finish that this gives. It's not overly matte, so it doesn't look flat on your face or like paint or chalky, but it's also not super glowy to where it's gonna emphasize pores, highlight texture, or slip and slide around like a lot of glowy foundations can do. This just makes your skin like the most perfected version of your skin. If you had perfect skin, this is that in a bottle. Love this one. I know I've mentioned it a couple times, but I did have to show it some love in a favorites video because it definitely is one of my favorites. So Selena Gomez Rare Beauty recently expanded the shade range in their Warm Wishes bronzer sticks. I already had two previous shades in this formula, which I did like. However, the previous shade range, or the tones that I personally had, ran a bit more warm. They were a little bit more on the warm side, so I didn't find myself reaching for them as often. If you are around my skin tone or have a lighter complexion with more of an olivey undertone, this shade Bright Side is perfect because it is a little bit more on the cool side, but it almost has an olivey greeny undertone to it. It has a little bit of yellow in there, so it just looks really natural and flattering on my skin tone personally. That's a lot of information that you probably don't need to know or care about, but they expanded the shade range, so if that was your biggest complaint with the old formulation, you might want to check out the expanded shades because I do find this one to be a better match. Really flattering. I love the formula of this because it's super thin, so it sits very closely to the skin. It doesn't feel heavy. It dries down to more of a satin matte finish, so it does last really well on the skin, and it blends out super easily. When you blend it out, it's so natural. It's pretty much undetectable, and you don't feel it either because it is more thin and it does have that more powdery dry down. A newer product that launched this month from e.l.f. This is their Halo Glow Beauty Wand, the highlight. I have the contour, the blush, and the highlight. However, the highlight is my favorite personally. I just find this highlight, specifically in the shade Champagne Campaign, to be so beautiful and flattering. It comes with the little sponge tip applicator like the Charlotte Tilbury, and you just draw it onto your face, and I like to just tap it out with my fingertips, and it just gives your cheekbones like the most beautiful, dewy, glowy highlight. It's not a super metallic or intense highlight. but I do prefer this type of highlight for an everyday look. I'm wearing it today. It just melts right into your skin and looks super natural. It looks like you have really good skin, you have really good skincare on. It's not sparkly or glittery, but it does have an impact. So it's not like you take the time to apply it and then you're like, it didn't really do anything, like some more dewy cream highlighters can do. Dewy, do. You get it. It's really beautiful. It's thin, it's creamy. It dries down to give you that like creamy, dewy, reflective sort of highlight. So if that's the sort of highlight that you prefer, definitely check these out from e.l.f. because they're really good and super affordable. I believe they're around $9. Another highlight that I fell in love with, this one is probably on the opposite end of the spectrum from the e.l.f., is the Rare Beauty highlighter. Mine unfortunately shattered. I don't know if you saw my short that I posted about it. I dropped it and it shattered and I was heartbroken. I did try to repress it, so I don't want to hold it up completely because I feel like it's still super fragile, but I didn't want to throw it away. I couldn't say goodbye. I have mine in the lightest shade, which is Enlighten. The thing I love the most about this highlighter is that it is intense. If you like a super intense, glowy highlighter, this is gonna be for you. I am a highlighter gal. I love highlighter. So when I first tried this on, I was like, yes, please let me bathe in it. I want to glow to the gods. This is special. I feel like an intense, glowy highlighter is a dime a dozen. It's not super hard to find something super intense. However, it is very hard to find something that's super intense, but that somehow still looks super natural on the skin. This formula is super unique because it's very, very thin. It's a baked formula, so it's super thin. It doesn't feel powdery at all. I've even heard some people say that it feels like a cream because it doesn't feel like you're really picking up powder. So because of that texture, it just melts right into your skin. You can't tell where the highlight starts and stops. So while it gives you like this intense glow from outer space, it somehow doesn't look like a stripe of highlighter on your cheeks. It's a really unique formula. I don't have anything else in my collection quite like this. I also really love the packaging. It looks like a little pebble, and yeah, it just brings me joy. It makes my heart happy. So if you like an intense highlighter, definitely check those out because they're probably one of the most intense highlighters I've ever tried, but also one of my favorite highlighters I've ever tried. Speaking of glow, the About Face Fractal Eye Paints. If you like glitter, all things glowy, then this is gonna be for you, girlfriend. I am obsessed with this. I don't know what stopped me, prevented me from trying About Face for so long. I guess it's just like being inundated with so many celebrity makeup brands. You're like, okay, another celebrity makeup brand, how good could this really be? So I think for that reason, I was just being a little bit stubborn, but I finally picked one of these up and I am obsessed, okay? The glitters in this are so fine and small. It's like they almost look like little diamonds just scattered across your eyelid. And they stay in place really well because it is a liquid shadow. You don't have to worry about fallout all over your face, which is my biggest complaint with any sort of glitter. This is super easy. You don't have to go in with a glitter glue before applying it. It's like a one and done step. I like to take the applicator and put a little bit on my fingertip and then tap it on my eyelid. I find that if I go directly from the applicator to my eyelid, I sometimes will over apply because you do get a lot of product on here. And if you want something super opaque, you can do that, but I personally like the more scattered glittered look. So really a little bit of product is all that you need. And with the amount of product that you get in here, this is gonna last you forever, literally forever. It catches the light so beautifully, but it's not too much. It doesn't look childish or kiddish in my opinion, and it just amps up your look. You can just wear it by itself for a wash of glitter over the eyelid for like an everyday look, or you can use it as a topper on any other more smoky eye or more intense eye look to just take it to the next level, you know? An older eye product that I've been loving this month, I know a lot of people have probably heard about this, tried this, but this was a more recent addition to my collection. It is the MAC Pro Longwear Paint Pot in the shade Painterly. So I think this was really popular like 2016 when YouTube was really starting to take off. I just never tried it, but I recently picked it up during the Ulta Spring Savings event where it was half off. And ever since I got it, I've been using it nonstop. I use it literally every single day. What I like about this is that it's so... Hey! Sorry if you can hear my cats. They're fighting for dominance in this moment. Anyway, what I like about this is that it's so thin on the eyes and so creamy. It blends out like a dream. It does dry down to give your eyeshadow a longer wear. Eyeshadow applies really beautifully on top of it. I never get any skipping or patchiness. The eyeshadow adheres really well to it, so it makes it pop a little bit more, and it's just a really great eye base. I can see why so many people loved it for so many years. This shade in particular is a pretty spot on match for my skin tone. Feels a little bit more lightweight and thin than a concealer does. Sometimes when I apply concealer to my eyelid, it can be a little bit more heavy. I don't know, it can just crease a little bit easier, I find. This never creases on my eyelid. And again, it's just so thin and lightweight that it's like you're not even wearing anything, but it has a lot of pigment to where it is going to cover up any discoloration, veins, anything like that on your eyelids that you're going to want to conceal before you're going with eyeshadow. So definitely an oldie, but definitely also a goodie. I am so happy that I finally have this. I don't ever see myself not having this in my collection. Now that I have discovered it, it's like, where have you been all my life? Moving along for the eyes, this is another like holy grail status discovery. I've been using this for the past couple months. This is the One Size Point Made waterproof liquid eyeliner pen. Mine is in the shade Busty Brown. So this is a felt tip eyeliner. It's interesting because usually I've always used eyeliners with a brush tip. This is one of the first felt tip eyeliners I've ever tried, and I love this. This is the easiest eyeliner to use. This makes doing a wing like, bam, I'm a pro. Eyeliner, like, easy. Easy, because you can just place the bottom of the felt tip right by your eye and the tip up at an angle, and there's your wing. The shape is already there for you, so you don't have to think or do it. I love how pigmented this is. A lot of times with felt tip eyeliners, you'll find that the tip starts to dry out over time, and then all of the pigment and liquid is like stuck at the bottom, so you get a really patchy, uneven application. That's not the case with this one. I've had this again for a couple months and it's still perfect. The applicator still works perfectly. None of the parts are dried out weirdly. It's still stiff. It didn't get like deflated or like bent or broken or anything like that. So I just love this. It's perfect for doing really thin, precise detail wings, or you can do something a little bit more intense. It builds up really nicely. It's very pigmented, stays in place all day long. And yeah, I just can't see my collection without it. Now that I have it, I will always have it. One more product in the eye category. This is the Anastasia Nouveau eyeshadow palette. I tried this out a while ago when it first launched, and I did like it then, but I started trying out new products and it just got kind of pushed to the back of my collection. But I recently pulled it back out because I feel like it's just a really springy color story. There's something about the pinks and the greens and even this pop of lavender that just screams springtime to me. I just wanted to pull it out to get some use out of it for the spring. And yeah, I've been using it pretty much every single day. I love the formula of this. The glitters in here are next level, creamy, intense, pigmented. This is one of my favorite shades, Lily. It's the most beautiful rosy gold bronze with like a purpley pink shift, little sparkles running throughout it, tiny little green, yellow, purple, pink sparkles running throughout it. Super multi-dimensional, super pretty. You only need this shade across the eyelid and you'll be good to go. I also really love E.l.f, which is like this gold. Oh my gosh, these feel like cream shadows. Like they're so creamy and smooth, especially the shimmers. I love this gold shade right here. It's not too yellow, so I find that it's still a really flattering gold. And again, the greens in here are super unique as well. Like this shade is a little bit more minty. The mattes are super pigmented, really blendable. They last all day long. And again, the shimmers are so creamy, so beautiful, just a joy to use. So I love this palette, one of my favorites, and definitely a really great palette to have for the springtime. The last two products that I've been loving in the month of April are for the lips. The first is a lip liner. This is from About Face as well. I picked this up the same time that I got the Fractal Glitter Eye Paint. And this is their matte, just their matte lip liner, matte fix lip liner, and this one is in the shade Cradled. What I love about this lip liner is that it is so creamy. It glides onto your lips like butter, but it stays in place. That's usually the trade-off with lip liners, is that if they're really, really creamy, They don't last really long. They kind of slip and slide around. They bleed, which I don't want in a lip liner. I like my lip liners to stay in place. That's what they're there for. To line my lips, to give them structure. I don't want them to wear off super quickly. If I have to reapply a lip gloss or a lip product, okay, but my lip liner, I want to stay. These are really long lasting and very, as you can see, super pigmented. Like I said, very creamy. And I just love the shade of this one because it's a little bit of a deeper brown. It's deep, but it's not too deep to where it's like gonna overpower your face, but it's deep enough to give you some structure. And I just love pairing it with literally anything. Pinks, browns, peachy tones. It looks good with literally everything. If you just let it dry down, like, it will stay in place. It's really hard to remove in the best way. So love these. I think these are pretty affordable too for a more high-end brand. So the fact that you can get something this creamy, this pigmented, this long lasting for a semi-affordable price tag is like, I'm in heaven. The only thing is, I feel like the shade range on these are a bit odd. This was one of the only shades that I personally saw that looked like something I would get a lot of use out of. However, I was just looking online, so maybe the swatches online are a little bit misleading, but I wish that she would come out with a little bit more nudes or neutral tones. A lot of them are very vibrant, so that's my only critique, but this shade is pretty much all that I need, so can't complain too much. The last product is from NYX. This is their Fat Drip Lip Oil. The name is so funny to me. It kind of makes me feel like I'm applying like chicken grease to my lips or something. I don't know. I guess it's provocative. Aside from the questionable name, the formula of this is really, really good, and I specifically love this shade in Newsfeed. It's a deeper, warmer pink, but it shears out on the lips, so it's not too overpowering. There it is right there. You can see it gives you a very glossy, high shine finish, but it's not sticky on the lips. And it does last a good amount of time. To me, this feels more like a lip gloss than a lip oil because it's not super slippy like lip oils can be. This one has a little bit more viscousness. It's a little bit thicker than a traditional lip oil, but not in a bad way. I like the way that it feels. It feels very cushiony on the lips. It sort of envelops them in a layer of plump, juicy goodness. And I find that actually after I wear these lip glosses all day, my lips do feel very hydrated. It does feel like a treatment. Sometimes lip glosses can leave your lips feeling dry and uncomfortable. This one I actually just like applying even if I'm not wearing makeup because it just feels like I'm applying like a lip balm or something super nourishing to my lips. So I love the shade of this one. I love how pigmented, how shiny it is. I love how it stays in place, and I love how nourishing and comfortable it is on my lips as well. So yeah guys, those are all the products that I have been loving in the month of April. Let me know down below what products you've been loving this month. I would love to hear. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye.